Hey, good morning. Welcome to the back to the About Z in the Land channel. We're continuing our install of the AEM coolant gauge in Little Red. Yesterday we had to call it on account of extreme heat. So we're here in Oklahoma. We've been under a extreme heat dome, hell on earth situation for about, was the second week, and hey, good news, looks like we're going to be in the hundreds up to 105 all week this week. Anyway, where that leaves us, we had to stop because literally could not be in the garage. It was too hot to be in the garage working on the Z. I was sweating so much I had sweat in my eyes and I couldn't work. And the part that we have left, I'll show you here in a second. So what we did yesterday, it took about 4 hours to get this all figured out. But what we did is we got the inline Mishimoto sensor housing in the cut into the upper coolant pipe. If you look on the side there, you'll see the sensor coming off. The sensor wire goes under kind of under here. Really don't want it to hang down too far, but not sure I like that now that I look at it. It's gonna get hot, so we may pull some back here. I have to look at that again, but I don't want it laying on that pipe. And it looks like it kind of almost is. So that's going to get extremely hot. May come back out. I'm not probably focusing the camera very well. We're going to probably bring this in the air right there and pull it up just so it's not touching that pipe. This whole area gets really hot. This pipe's going to be really hot. We just don't want it touching any of those. And so we might have to look into that because these pipes are going to get about 200 degrees. That may be all that's required right there. Let's see if it's touching down here. What I want it to do is kind of be back from that pipe, which it kind of is not. As you can see, it's kind of resting on the pipe right there. I don't know what good my camera angles are, but what we don't want, we really don't want that. We kind of want it up here. I'm not sure exactly what we're gonna do to make that happen, but just route it right under there, and we just don't want it laying on that pipe. And it's actually coming extremely close to this one. There's no really great place to route it. We may have to create some slack, cut these, and pull it up. If we could have it just come right under. Looking at this, our ideal would be to have it behind that plate right there. I'm not sure if we can. I'm not even pointing the camera at the area. Sorry for all this bad camera angles. Anyway, looks like we, on second thought, and second and third thoughts are always good. It's going to run really close to that upper coolant pipe. Anyway, actually the lower, this is the one that's going to be the hottest. We're probably in better shape where we were, having it down by the bottom pipe, coolant pipe, which is actually coming out of the radiator, so that's going to be much cooler air than cooler coolant than coming in the top. We'll just have to keep an eye on that, so we really don't have time to focus on that because we're on the clock. Literally, it's going to be 100 degrees by about 10:30 a.m. It's 5 in the morning now. All the normal, so-called normal people are sleeping. We're up. We've already been to the gym and back, and in here working. And hey, there's a siren. The drama begins. Psychos are out, drunk driving, crashing. Every manner of insanity is happening. But let's show you what we did. So that cable, you see it coming off the sensor, routes around. We kind of coupled it with zip ties to the current needle-based original OEM sensor temperature gauge. And this one that's in pink there, that is the ECU temp gauge. So there's two temp sensors there, one for the gauge, one for the engine control unit. Then we routed it around, kind of came under right there. You can kind of see it there as it crosses over a vacuum hose. And then up, what we did is we got on the back side of this large vacuum hose. You can see that routed around. We came down this bundle where the AEM boost gauge vacuum hose is, and I'm not sure what the other one of those. There's three there now. One of them is the AEM boost gauge. The other one is a coming from, I'm not 100% sure. I'm kind of drawing a blank. But then down, so we've done quite a few upgrades. We have this will be the third AEM gauge. So you see down there that hole, which one of the things coming out of there is the hood release cable, and then you have the Aeromoto 16307 Phantom fuel pump harness, which is that kind of red and black sheathed cable. One of those is the AEM boost gauge. Actually, it's the sensor wires. And then the second one on the other side is the new AEM coolant gauge. And then we'll come around and show you what we've done inside. A lot of work, a lot of work. And what you see is this is where we've mounting it, not as much by choice as necessity. Will I be able to see it perfectly? No. I would like it to set up more up on the Velcro, a little higher. That's not exactly possible based on this piece. We will be able to see it, so where we're sitting, we'll be able to see the most important part of it is from about 150 to 250. We don't ever want to be over about 220 really, but what we want to be able to see, we'll be able to see. We don't really need to see down in the 300 or 100 range. So only after driving it for a while will we get a real good feel for what we're doing. What we also did yesterday, this used to be a Velcro piece that was on this right side where the engine builder mounted the Zytronic ZT4 air fuel ratio gauge, which we relocated to here in the triple gauge pod. Just a note, it does, when you take it off, it doesn't matter how easy you take it off, you're gonna have adhesive all over that plastic. How did we get it off? We got it off with rubbing alcohol, a cloth, and just a lot of rubbing, and it's just a lot of applications. Eventually the alcohol will break down the adhesive. With force, you just keep rubbing and it will come off. So we got that cleaned up while we're in here. Now what we have down here is what I like to lovingly call a mess. So there's a shit ton of wiring in here. You got wiring bundles. So all of these gauges come with so much extra wiring that's completely not necessary. And where they don't give you enough is on the sensor side of the equation. We could have used more wire, and we had to splice in some sensor wire that came out of a G-Ready boost controller that was on the Z when we bought it, when it had all the Stillen upgrades. And so looks like a pretty bad mess. We're going to clean it right up, and we just have to attach 2 wires, the red and the black. That brown and white wires are for data logging. We will not be doing any data logging. So now we're going into wiring mode. We will be working on that. We'll show you when we get it as clean as it's going to get. It's all of this extra wires, cables that we need to zip tie up and try to get it up out of the way. Now we even have a new one, and the new one is this one. So we're going to continue working. We'll shoot a clip here for you when we get everything wired in, and hopefully we've got a functioning digital coolant gauge right there, the new AEM. All right, so that's where we're at. We'll check back in with you later. More to come.